Josh.
I can't hear it, but it looked funny.
I am full.
You are full?
I'm quite full.
Full of what?
Chipotle and pizza.
Chipotle and pizza?
There was Chipotle and there was pizza.
Oh my.
It's one of those days.
Oh my. Okay. Are you gonna read the script or am I gonna read the script?
This is the script.
This is the script. We wrote this down? Oh my god. Oh my god, we did write it down.
What if I snuck it in there?
When did you do this?
I'm full of Chipotle and pizza.
How did you know what I was going to say?
All right, children. Welcome to Consume Content, where we help you find the best content to consume. I'm Matt, and this is Josh.
I'm Josh.
I'm Matt. Today we will be discussing Andor.
Andor, yes.
You had enough Star Wars? Because we haven't.
No, it's, there was a lot of
the
corrections.
Chipotle spice. It's hitting me in the throat.
Hitting you in
That
the
was
throat.
a spicy Chipotle.
I had a very spicy Chipotle flavored El Pollo Loco overstuffed quesadilla, but we can talk about that later.
Oh man, I still have to try one of those. Okay, but for those of you listening, if you want to join us, talk to us, engage with us, please do. But we have a Discord server. It's called the Group Chat. I think you can find it's linked here wherever you're listening to this.
It's
That's
linked in
probably
the
best way to
description.
find it.
Like if you're listening on Spotify, the link is in the Spotify description. So the description should carry over to wherever you're listening. It's there.
You can find it. And I left a little prize if you go there and find it. It's for you. Justin, you're not allowed to accept it because I know you're already there. But otherwise,
okay,
that prize is for you.
Why can't Justin get it? We'll review that later. But yeah, we're like, just so you guys know, we record this on the Discord server. Like this is a Discord chat room right now. Like just come on over.
Well, yes, but they can't come to this chat room.
No, this one's locked. This is a voice channel that this is locked.
Yeah, so don't point it out and be like, so come over.
Come there's
hang
a
out.
general.
Just pop onto the show.
There's a general one. One day we'll take callers. One day, not today.
One day.
One day.
Not Justin.
Maybe not for 5 years, but one day. One day.
Okay, but we're breaking with tradition because normally I would pick something that you hadn't seen yet and I would sell it to you. I'd convince you that it's something worth seeing that you probably missed. Most people probably did. But I think we do have some of that magic here still because I think Andor is already poised to win awards. It's groundbreaking, but it's just not at that critical mass that the Skywalker saga reaches. Every Christmas. It's a Disney Plus show, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure that's the only place you can watch it. You know what? I think I saw it on Hulu for a spell. It popped up for a second.
Hulu has been doing these bundled deals where like you can get access to other platforms through Hulu. Like that's
I know about that, but it wasn't that. It was just I have Disney Plus and I have Hulu separately and they're not connected, but I was on Hulu and it was advertising Andor. I was like, "Oh, that's weird." I know Disney owns both, so it's not like outlandish, but
they own both? Those
bastards. Disney owns Hulu.
Was Hulu
ABC?
Oh my God, you're right.
ABC bought it a while ago.
ABC bought it, and then
But yeah, they were pushing it. I think because Andor, they know it has that potential. It's just they're taking it slow, but they're letting it reach people. And honestly, places like this, shows like this, where there's just two assholes talking about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because I'm excited to talk about it. I just want to talk about it. Even though you've seen it, I've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
You actually, a couple days ago, I saw you, and you were like, and I told you, I haven't finished Andor yet. And you're like, oh, good, don't watch any. and then maybe we'll talk about it and I can sell the rest to you. I couldn't do it. I couldn't wait. I had to watch it, Josh. It was so good.
It's a really good show.
I could have found other stuff to watch. I've got games piling up to play, but I was like, no, I gotta watch it.
Yeah, it's such a good show. Oh my god! But tell me what you loved about it.
It's truly a breath of fresh air. Star Wars, and I love Star Wars. Hold on.
You're currently sitting in the wrong room. I know you have Star Wars things everywhere. He can't hear me right now. He can't hear me. Okay, he has. Okay, it was in his window. It was in his window. Why was it in his window? He has a lightsaber in his window. Audio listeners.
I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, but I love Star Wars. And there's much more than just this. It was against the wall. It just happened to be behind the curtain.
Okay, folks, you hear that?
In most rooms, I guess on average, just based on the human population, I'm probably one of the bigger Star Wars fans, but I'm not the biggest at all. But I love me a good Star Wars, and I was fine with any Star Wars that came out. I was there for all the movies. I watched them all. Josh is currently frantically looking around his room to prove his nerddom.
I don't think I have anything Star Wars anymore. I might have anymore. I think I might have a comic.
Did they lose you at Solo? You were like, no, fuck this. He threw it all away.
No, I'm like, oh yeah, Solo was okay. Yeah, it was weird, but it was okay. I'm digging through a drawer right now. It was okay. It was just like Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, and that's
bothered the hell out of me.
That's what it came down to. Everyone universally loved Force Awakens, or I guess we should go back further.
Yeah.
Star Wars just rewrote all of pop culture.
Yeah.
In the 70s and 80s. Continued, and honestly, I think we need to give more credit to the prequel series than most people give it. It was awful for the most part. It had its moments for sure. It had its characters.
It has its memes.
It has its memes, but I will follow Daddy Wan Kenobi into any dark hallway.
Jesus Christ. Oh my god.
But so there were some great parts, but it was largely looked down upon because there was some pretty poor filmmaking. I think George Lucas, the money went to his head, whatever. But for people like you and me, the millennials of today's age, that was our nostalgia factor. Those were the big Star Wars movies at the prime age of what we were like. We must have been like 10 when Phantom Menace came out.
Yeah, like 8 or 10 years old.
Younger, yeah. No, I think it came out like 2000, 99, 2000.
If it came out in 2000, yeah, I would have been 7 or 8 years old.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the first movie. And there were 2 more as part of this prequel series. And by the time Revenge of the Sith came out, everyone was back on track. Yeah. Not to say that everyone was like, these are better than, the original Star Wars.
No, yeah, they lost people. They definitely lost people with Phantom Menace. They lost more people with Attack of the Clones. And then then they got a lot of people back for Revenge of the Sith.
They saved some face. They did a good job wrapping things up. Probably also a lot for the nostalgia factor because, Darth Vader. But it was still, it served the purpose of bringing in a whole new generation of fans.
Oh, yeah.
Because you and I, people our age, we probably wouldn't have given a shit. If Star Wars had ended at Return of the Jedi, we would have seen them. We would talk about them every once in a while.
Oh yeah,
they'd be like, "Oh, that's cool sci-fi." Yeah. It would be talked in the same breath as like original Star Trek, just old school sci-fi.
It's a machine. I mean, that's a whole other conversation. Like that's a machine. I know Sonic the Hedgehog does that too. Like that, I think I saw a documentary, like a YouTube documentary. I don't want to disgrace it by saying a YouTube documentary. Point is, it was a documentary. Someone worked very hard on it, and it was very good. And Was it a documentary? I'm misremembering things. Point is, it's a machine. You got to like crank out something every few years to get a new group of kids, and that's how you keep your franchise alive. But it is spaced out, and then you have to tweak things and reinvent things. What?
Did you catch that, audience? He said spaced out.
I'm going to respond with silence to that one.
I told you, I'm full of Chipotle and pizza. I'm in a weird mood.
Oh my god, full of carbs. Anyway.
That's where we started.
Yeah.
And of course, we saw all 6 movies, and for as long as I can remember, I mean that those were the end of my formative years. We're about the same age, so those were the same for the both of us. There were 6 Star Wars movies for most of our lives.
Yeah.
For a long time, and then Force Awakens comes out, and it was enormous. It drove the nail right down. It hit the nail on the head of that like sweet spot for just the fan service, for just very basic like satisfactory like plot.
It was
exploration,
a fun,
just world building.
It was a fun adventure movie, is what it was to me. Fun adventure
and
movie.
a lot of people draw the lines between Force Awakens and New Hope, and some people even complain about that, but I'm fine with it. It was fan service, and
I don't know.
I was a fan, and I enjoyed it.
I'm so sorry, folks, for me yawning so much. I am sleepy. It's 9:40 p.m. right now.
And we're ranting. We're ranting about Star Wars.
Ranting about Star Wars. I'm sorry. I'm trying to drink a lot of water because coffee is giving me headaches.
Hey, I just heard about this.
What?
Is there such... I don't drink coffee. Like, I've had less than a full cup in my entire life, probably.
Yeah.
But is there such a thing as coffee pee?
Coffee pee?
Yeah. Does your pee smell after you drink coffee?
My pee smells semi-frequently, depending on what I've eaten. Like, it depends. Like, if you...
Pee always has a smell.
Pee always has a smell.
Does it smell more like coffee when you drink coffee?
No, not for me.
Apparently, for some people, it does.
I believe it. Like, there are people who drink obsessive amounts of coffee. That's what happens. Like, it comes out in your piss. Like, it...
yeah.
This is a weird tangent to go off. Anyway, we're talking about Star Wars and Andor, right? And let's fast forward a little bit, right? The sequel trilogy, I was a defender of of the first 2. Diehard defender. I came up with all sorts of excuses for Rey being a Mary Sue. I'm just look at this. These are the blah blah blah. And then that third movie really shit the bed for me. So like expectations were really low, coming out of anything after Rise of Skywalker, which is a terrible name for a Star Wars movie. And as soon as I heard the movie, the title of the movie, my confidence in the franchise dropped. Right?
Wait.
What?
Wait, are you talking about Rey Skywalker?
Shut up. God, I don't want to be upset about that, but I am. Anyway.
We all are.
Anyway, I think Rey's a fine character, a great character, but there was so much wasted in that movie. So many meandering things. We're not talking about that, though. We're talking about how low the bar was for us personally.
We're setting the stage.
We're setting the stage of how low... And... Does that affect my opinion of Andor? Maybe not.
I think it must, because you're old enough and you've been a fan long enough, whether you acknowledge it or not, or whether you're aware of it or not, to have been affected by the overall arc of the popularity and just the good storytelling of Star Wars.
Oh yeah, but I'm also a guy who says frequently Star Wars is not great. It's not great. It's fantasy in space, It's a good adventure series, right? George Lucas, in the sequel trilogy, was introducing more things. He was adding in the politics for the world building for things to make more sense. How could these things happen, right?
Wait, do you mean the prequel trilogy?
Is that what I not said? Did I say sequel, not prequel?
Yeah, because
Okay, I meant prequel trilogy.
yeah,
And
the sequels he got the boot. He got kicked out.
He got the boot. Well, he sold the boot.
He sold the boot.
He sold the boot for 4 billion euros, and so
that's right.
4 billion credits.
It was credits, I believe so.
And so, in Galactic Basic, anyway, I don't know the names of a lot of the obscure characters, like hardcore Star Wars fans. Like, okay, I get it. You know what all the bounty. You know the names of all the bounty hunters. Okay, I know who IG-88 is. All right, get off my ass. But
hey,
what?
But are you aware of Salacious Crumb and his story?
Everyone knows who Salacious Crumb is. Okay, everybody who knows Star Wars, he's a meme. Okay, I don't know his story. I forgot his story, but I know I've heard it at least once.
I don't
That's
think there
not
is
the
much
point.
of a story. But
That's not the point.
What about Babu Frick?
Oh God, who was Babu Frick? Anyway,
He was the little tiny guy in the Rise of Skywalker.
Oh,
they went to the droid.
Yeah.
And he was like,
I don't want to get into that movie. Anyway, I thought that movie gave C-3PO the most screen time and gave him a lot of character work, and then like invalidated it by the like it was so stupid, made it a waste of time.
But the Red Sith arm. What are you talking about?
Anyway, so we're talking about how low. Anyway, so expectations are low. That should affect my opinion of how great Andor is. So maybe I'm hyperinflating how great it is because the bar was so low. But I've always acknowledged that Star Wars is just the hero's tale fantasy adventure franchise that it is. It doesn't tell. It typically does not tell great stories. It tells epics. It doesn't tell personal stories. It doesn't tell human stories all that well. It is about the forces of good versus the forces of evil in a very traditional black and white sense.
That's usually how it's been.
Exactly.
And it's almost the prime example of telling the classic adventure, hero's adventure.
Exactly. Like, not to say anything's wrong with that, but it's not gonna win any Oscars. You know, it's a story.
It was made to please millions, billions. It was just it's a big story, and people really clung to it. So they stuck with it.
Lightsabers sell, people. Okay, sword fights sell.
I go to Disneyland several times a month, and I can confirm lightsabers sell.
They sell, okay? That's what it is. It's not I'm not going to see Star Wars for political commentary, for commentary on the human condition. You know, that's not what I go to Star Wars for. I go to see lightning bolts come out of people's hands. Like that's what I go.
Sorry, what was that noise?
That was my impression of Darth Sidious when he thought he won. When he won, like, you know, when he was trying to kill Mace Windu. And then, you know.
Do you mean unlimited power?
No, this is like after that line. It was like, you know. And so same scene. You got the scene, just a little bit after that line, and he's like,
it's been a while since I saw that one.
Yeah, and so Andor is not that at all. Andor is not the fantasy movie. It's not the. What's up?
I guess I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
This is what it's like to cut Josh off.
You've done it before, you son of a bitch. Anyway, go on.
I'm so excited because I've been hearing a lot of other people talk about the show as well, And I've heard it, what you're describing be put as, it's like they took some very good writers, very good storytellers who know nothing about Star Wars, and they sat them in a room and told them, here's the world, here's the universe, write a good story. People who have no interest in Star Wars, because that's what I see as well. It's not it's not a Star Wars story. I love that it's in Star Wars, but it's a political thriller. It's a heist movie. It's an escape movie. It's I don't know.
It's so much. There's so much in the show. There's basically 3 movies in that show, and it's so good. But to what you were saying, I've read that as well, and I'm a little wary of that. You know, like, you hear the opposite as well. Like, they're talking about how it's great that they have writers who are going against the source material, but then you hear stuff about, like, people complaining about The Witcher season 3, about how they're going to move away from the source material and how that's upsetting fans. Maybe that's a timing thing. Star Wars is a lot older, you know, but also I think more specifically, it's that Tony Gilroy, right? He wrote Rogue One as well as this show, I believe, and it was it was his objective in both that we're not doing Jedi. Like, that's it. Jedi's a different thing. It's a fantasy thing. We're not doing fantasy. And so to bring in the Jedi would be antithetical to what he's trying to do here, which is tell so much more of a grounded story. And what is the rebellion? And then what is the heart of the rebellion? What is the rebellion made out of? That's what Andor is really about, using Cassian Andor as this figure. He's taking you through. Him and the people connected to him are your window into the world of the rebellion. Through all levels of it. The espionage, the different guerrilla factions, all the way down to the people who just go to work every day and have to live under an oppressive regime, and what they're going to do about it. It's
an oppression story.
Yeah, they show you all levels, and it takes you through. It's not necessarily a hero's journey.
No, they don't. They don't show you all levels. They show you what we've been missing.
Yes. You're absolutely right.
We saw a lot of it in Rogue One. There
right.
are a lot of strong ties to Rogue One, obviously. But no, yeah, we've been focusing at the highest level, the Emperor, the Jedi, the Sith. And this just doesn't give a shit about any of them.
No,
we don't need to worry about them. The Emperor, his name is thrown around a couple times, like, take it up with the Emperor.
Yeah.
But that's just how it is.
It's about the rebellion versus the Imperial Security Bureau, which is great. Which
has been so horrifying, but also so almost gratifying to have grown up on this story. You know, the Empire being such this ubiquitous idea, just this ever-present force, like, and it has such a familiar face, Darth Vader. But now we get to see why it's like this show was made to show us why the rebellion existed in the first place. We knew why, but it's like we get to see the story. We get to see the pain.
Yeah.
It's like space Nazis.
Yeah.
Just unabashedly space Nazis.
Yeah.
That's what the Empire was, and they had no one to check them on it.
No.
There was just no oversight. There was no one to question what they were doing. The Empire was all powerful, and people were completely run over.
Yeah. But that's why they show you Mon Mothma in the show, which is like the only sort of like judiciary obstacle that could stand in the way of the Empire is obsolete. It's
exactly it's all a show. The Senate exists, the Republic, as just a way to appease the people at home. The people on their planets. Like
the powers that be. Yeah.
The Emperor is taxing us out of house and home. but it's okay because our senator will fight for us.
Yeah, and the senators, of course, are just living in the lap of luxury. All of it is, it's all just, it's so wonderful to see all these different layers, right? And again, like I almost forgot about Mon Mothma. Like, I almost did not want to watch. Sometimes I wouldn't want to watch the Mon Mothma stuff because of like her personal family drama, right? But her personal family drama is a part of her cover, you know? It's also a part of her story, how like she has to make personal sacrifices in order to accomplish these things. And she's just trying to secure funding for the rebellion. It seems like the simplest thing, right? But then it's always more complex. Like her relationship with her husband, her relationship with her daughter, how she's.
I guess that's the highest level. Like we said, we don't care about the Jedi, the Emperor, the Sith. That's the highest level of like this conflict. But
how is she going to get the money to the rebellion?
What we're seeing is the most powerful people, aside from the magic sorcerer people.
Yeah,
just the real people who are fighting to ensure that their planet can have food for the next like 100 years.
Exactly. And then watching the meetings between different rebel leaders, right? Like Saw Gerrera's in this, spoiler, right?
Hey, stop it. We're not doing that.
He's in it. For a little bit, he's in it, but to see argument, okay, so there's a spy master. I will say that. Not Saw Gerrera. You know who Saw Gerrera is. He's a guerrilla fighter, leader of guerrilla fighters. What?
What was that thing he kept saying? The big monster thing in Rogue One?
I forget it. I just watched Rogue One again just to learn.
The Borgully?
Borgully.
The
Borgully.
Like that.
Because he's crazy. He's manic at that point. Borgully. He's manic at that point, right? So in the show, he's not quite manic yet. The Borgullet. The Borgullet. Because it's still like 10 years prior to the movie, I think. So he's not quite there yet. He's not quite manic. I think it's 10 years. But
is it really?
I think so. I think it's like 10 BBY before the Battle of Yavin. And
yeah, cuz you don't really get an idea of where exactly between which movies this is taking place. Obviously before Rogue One, but you don't know exactly when. You don't know what's going on in the rest of the universe.
Yeah. I think we're going really deep. Again, so Saw Gerrera is great because he adds texture to the problems within the rebellion. Why doesn't the rebellion just come together and, unite? And then he points out, because he himself is a part of the problem, they are so ideologically opposed to one another that they refuse to work together because they all have different visions as to how to run the rebellion, how to fight for the rebellion, what to do. And the spy master, who's played by the older Skarsgård, I forget his first name.
Stop it. We're not talking about who they are.
I could say the actor's name. Okay. Anyway, he's in it. Maybe you've seen him in the trailers, in the fucking posters.
He's the old guy in Thor. That's all we know.
He's the old guy in Thor. He's a brilliant spy master, right? And he has to try to operate this. What?
Nope.
Fine. I won't say it. Watch it. Anyway, I think you're right. We're getting too deep into the weeds. I think...
Okay, tell me.
What?
Is there another similar show or movie, just another piece of media that exists to flesh out the universe of a much larger series that's already existed?
That's a tough ask. Yeah.
Because we don't see that a lot.
No.
This is pretty new.
Let me look. Oh, boy.
I'm sure it's been done, but it hasn't been done this well.
No, I can't think of something. I'm watching Willow on Disney Plus right now. It's pretty not great. pretty not great. It's more of a sequel series to the movie. The movie's okay. The movie's pretty good, pretty fun.
I haven't seen any of it. I don't know.
It's a pretty charming movie that sort of like logically doesn't make sense in certain aspects. Anyway, like the sequel series is supposed to like open up and actually like finish the story that was told in the movie X amount of years later. But it doesn't really, open up anything. I can't think of anything. Like, if I were to compare the show to anything else, God, what's a good... Because it is a spy thriller, right? It's a spy thriller where there's a heist, and then there's...
Would you call it a spy thriller? I mean, it certainly there is some spying. There's plenty of spying happening, but I just feel like it's more political.
It is more political. There's like you're not dealing with anybody. There's only one part of it where people are like undercover and in disguise because the rebel spies are hiding.
Yeah.
There's some of that. There is some of like
there is some,
going
but I think
undercover.
Yeah, and then that's part of just a larger political conflict that you're watching.
Yeah, it's and I think that's what I should mention as well is how much of a slow burn the show is at first. Like
it pays off so well.
It does, but it is a slow burn. It is like the long wick of dynamite, just going just burning and getting to, and then there's these explosions that happen along the way, and everything builds up to the endings of these arcs that take place in the season, right? So there's multiple arcs, and things explode. For like literally, things explode. But
don't you prefer that though?
For this type of show, yeah.
Well, just in general, I'm generally a patient person, especially when it comes to something I'm really into, like a movie, something I enjoy. But I mean, there's gonna be people. I know for a fact there's people who started watching the show and they're like, "Oh, cool, a new Star Wars, whatever," and it lost them. They never finished the show.
Yeah, because it's a slow burn. Like I will admit, like to thinking for the first 3 episodes, why are we still with these characters? These characters are not part of the rebellion. They're not part of the Empire. Why are they showing us things in these people's lives? And that doesn't make sense until later. Because you don't realize immediately that these are people in the Star Wars universe. They just live here, and they're the ones who are going to have to suffer the consequences, right? They always, like in the larger movies, they always talk about, the dark side, the light side, good versus evil, right? Right? They never show you what the Empire did. Not really. They blew up a planet. Okay, they blew up a planet. But that's just a big explosion. That doesn't personalize it. That doesn't get into the depth of the problem.
Hey.
What?
Can I blow up your planet?
No, don't blow up my planet. Get out of here. Gross. Anyway. Like,
why won't you love me?
You have a fiance, all right? Let her blow up your planet. All right, get out of here. Anyway.
Don't make it literal.
Anyway. I think the show is a hard sell, which is why we're talking about, which is why I wanted to talk about it. I think the show is a hard sell even for casual Star Wars fans, because it's not like anything else Star Wars. You go to Star Wars to see lightsabers and blaster shots, pew pew pew, right? You don't go to Star Wars to see 2 guys get murdered in an alley in the first episode. Right?
No, you go to Star Wars to watch a bunch of kids get lightsabered.
Yeah, exactly. Like, again, like, oh my God, that's a meme. Anyway, so we won't cover that again.
That's the meme.
That's the meme. But no, like the first episode of Andor pretty much starts off with a mugging gone wrong, right? Yeah. And that gets Andor into all sorts of trouble. But it's, again, I'm like, why the fuck do I care? He killed 2 guys. This is how. Okay, and they show you stuff.
Wait,
okay,
stop. We're not supposed to talk about
okay,
the
yeah,
show.
blah, blah. Anyway, right? I think the show is a hard sell, and I don't know, like. All I can tell people is that it's a slow burn. You got to trust it. It's good, but it's not what you expect. Like, if you liked Prison Break, right? If you liked, name a spy show, huh? Shawshank. If you like Shawshank, those are two prison. Like, if you liked, like it's the heist is not like Ocean's 11 heist. It is a thought out. Like, what's a much grittier heist movie? You know. Like, I'm not saying it's not fun, but it's political. It's a political show, right?
Fast and Furious 5.
No.
That was a heist movie.
That was a heist movie, yes, but that wasn't a gritty heist movie, you know?
I don't know. There's a little grit in there. A little bit of sand.
Like, maybe Donnie Brasco, just because, like, you love characters you're not supposed to. Like, there's a cat meowing, sorry. Let me think. I'm scrolling through right now. Oh, Jesus Christ. Let me let this cat out real quick. Oh my God. Don't you know I'm recording a podcast?
You could almost say the cats have a forced, control over Josh.
I got a lot of earwax. Oh, boy. Hold on. I got to recalibrate my chair. I'm sorry, folks. What?
Can you not talk about earwax?
No. I just pretty much have to. I'm trying to find other shows to compare it to. You know, there's so much in the show. Like, the show's essentially 3 movies. It's just those first 3 episodes are about building. It is world building, those first 3 episodes, right? But it's all about how one small thing, or one event, just snowballs into larger things, and how it gets progressively bigger for not just Andor, but for everybody. And going back to the Imperial agents, right? There are characters that, for me at least, I was rooting for some reason. There's a character I was rooting for, and then I had to be reminded later on in the show, like, wait a minute, they're a villain. Like, because there's like an internal competition. Like, just watch the show.
Who are you rooting for?
The character is the Nazi lady. Anyway, it's the characters are so good. They have Andor, he's solid. They have the people, his family. They have a lot of the Imperial characters are just so well acted. Like, the performances are just great across the board. That, like, oh my God.
Yeah, there were definitely some big faces.
Yeah,
excluding cameos like Saw Gerrera.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody slacking on that. Like,
no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of the characters were actors I'd never seen before, but they were phenomenal.
Yeah, they were so good. A lot of
just the minor characters.
Yeah.
It was just very solid all the way around,
and characters died.
Adding...
Yeah. We should probably point out, characters died. This is still espionage. You know, not everybody makes it out alive. Some people who you wish would die don't die, and you're like, why is this guy still alive? Why are we following this guy? I hate him, but that's why he's there, for you to hate him. All right? Just trust me. He gets what he deserves, but then you keep watching, you're like, why am I still watching? Because in his own world, in his own mind, he's an underdog. And he's coming. He's trying to climb back up. Oh my God! You just gotta trust me and watch it, folks.
Josh, what's the best Star Wars movie?
The best Star Wars movie. Oh my God! Let me look that up. Let's look up.
No. Just you shout it out.
I know, but I'm gonna look up the list. Right? I'm gonna pull them up.
What's the first one that comes to mind?
Probably Rogue One. Just because I really am no, not even Rogue One. Rogue One's is cool. It was really cool, but I really only like the Battle of Scarif. That's it. That's all I like about the movie. The Battle of Scarif. And
you don't like watching Felicity Jones's teeth
not really
staring at you the whole movie.
I'm a rebel spy.
My father, he works for the Empire.
My father is a scientist.
She's Australian, I guess.
I don't know. I'm not great at accents, but oh my god, that's what I'm saying. Like Borgully. It's the movies are not great. They're not great. Some of the best stuff of Star Wars came from the TV shows and the games and the cartoons. Like I love Starkiller more than any other Jedi or Sith or whatever character, right? KOTOR was amazing. There's so much other things in Star Wars other than the movies. Huh?
Did you play Fallen Order?
I did. Fallen Order was great. Right? It's an incomplete game, but it was wrapped up.
There's a sequel.
Yeah, there's a sequel coming up. Takes place 5 years later. I'm excited to see
Cal has a beard.
He's got a beard now.
He's got a manly beard.
Now he was a Padawan. Now he's a knight. You know, that sort of thing.
He's a Jedi.
No, he's a Jedi Knight, which is just always a problem because like the whole point is that like the Jedi are wiped out. Like how is he? And like I like the game, right? But like, are there Jedi or are they not Jedi, right? What's going to happen, right? Is he going to help Luke later? You know, what's going on, right?
Well, who says he has to? Well, Jedi doesn't mean this one group. Anybody can be a Jedi.
Yeah, but if he's running around as a Jedi, right? Then
he's a rogue Jedi.
Then why isn't he?
He doesn't stand up. He doesn't stand against the larger Jedi Order, like what Luke is building. I would assume, but he does stand apart. He's just doing his own thing.
I guess but like this is before all that though. Like
it's the same with Ahsoka Tano.
Are they going to
exactly fit into the Jedi Order, but she's
I know, but that's what annoys me about like the technicalities. That's not a Sith acolyte. That's an Inquisitor. Like it's the actually fucking thing of it. Like it doesn't make sense to me. I get it, but like they wrote themselves into a corner, so George Lucas, I guess, wrote them into a corner. So like they're just trying to squeeze in Jedi wherever they can, Jedi and Sith, but call them under different names. So they're not technically that. It's a gray Jedi. Ahsoka's not a Jedi. She left the Order formally before the fall of the Republic. Whatever. What? She has She has 2 lightsabers, and she kicks ass.
And she kicks ass.
And she kicks ass. All right, and so I don't know. Like the movies just aren't that great.
But why are you hung up on it? What does it matter?
It's just a little annoying, is all. Just like.
What's annoying?
What? What?
When you think of a Jedi, how are they dressed?
In
just
robes.
Like regular Clone Wars, exactly.
Yeah.
Big flowing robes, white tunics.
Yeah.
You know why that is?
Why? Samurai?
Because they built it. They built it off of the very first Jedi depicted in the movies, which was Obi-Wan Kenobi, played by
Alec Guinness.
Alec Guinness.
Yeah.
Who was an old retired Jedi, basically, an old man sitting in the desert watching over Luke, sitting in his bathrobe.
Yeah.
He's not fighting anyone.
No.
The entire wardrobe of the Jedi Order was built off of this guy in his evening gown. He's just wearing robes because he's got nothing else to wear in the desert.
I don't want to. Don't make me defend that. I don't think. Oh my god! Don't make me defend his nightgown. All right, it's because like.
Tell me I'm wrong. The reason that they're dressed the way they are is because it was based off of what Alec Guinness was wearing, but that's not typical Jedi apparel.
That's partially true, right? It's partially George Lucas is a freak. Okay, he wrote too much.
Your argument.
He wrote too much, right? he had all of it like concepted out. Like he wrote what it like. He had ideas already, right? Like he had stupid rules. I heard he had a rule where like in Star Wars there are no zippers. Like I don't know why. Like he came up with a design rule. Like
Borgulit.
Like and don't even get me like it's a fucking like he can't.
I bet we've seen a zipper in Star Wars.
Somewhere there's a zipper in Star Wars, but
there's
like,
been a slip of a zipper.
I read somewhere that was a rule back in the day where like that like would help them guide them like the constraints, like creating constraints. But like I'm confident George Lucas just had somebody do a lot of concept art, and then he had them do more concept art as the years went on because he's fucking rich, and because they were always based on the samurai. That's what he wanted. But I don't want to defend it, okay? Because, you know, you're right. There's a lot of stupid things about Star Wars. I don't want to make it seem like it was genius. It wasn't. Like, he had to rewrite most of it. Yeah,
he explained the Gungans.
There's so much worse than Jar Jar, right? There's so much worse. Like, it's...
Okay, but explain Darth Jar Jar.
Darth Jar Jar? He didn't make that. He didn't do that. That was something people made up.
There's no other explanation.
Because people want things to make sense. So they're like, there has to be a reason why Jar Jar existed. Jar Jar existed. It's comedic relief. That was it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He has the meme factor.
This is the meme factor. That's all it is. But it's... What am I doing?
You know how... You know all the new Star Wars stuff? Mm-hmm. There's an intro sequence where it's like the red and blue flashes of light over like the metallic silhouette of like just random Star Wars characters, droids and like Darth Vader and that flash real quick. Mm-hmm. I saw it for a fact. I saw it and I didn't think anything of it because it was so early. Uh-huh. But there was one episode, it might still be there, but I'm pretty sure it's like in the first season of Mando, one of the episodes, there was a flash of Jar Jar. He was one of the characters that the lights were flashing in front of. They hit it.
They hit it. That doesn't mean anything, Matt.
But he's there. No, I'm not saying it means anything. I'm just saying they snuck it in. Uh-huh. It's there. I think it's still on the episode. I don't know which one.
That's okay. I'm sure like maybe they thought they would like squeeze him in somewhere as comedic relief. I mean, Book of Boba Fett wasn't very good, you know, but it was a lot of like, God, Book of Boba Fett wasn't good.
It was fine. Everyone is just complaining because it's not Mando, and it basically turned into Mando, and that's fine. Yeah. But on its own, I think it was fine. Mm-hmm. I don't think anyone gives enough credit to like the work that was put in to what's his name, Temuera Morrison, for coming back and playing Boba Fett as the proper actor, as the proper choice for that role as someone who is a clone.
I agree.
Or the actor who played the clones.
I love every time he like his cameo in Obi-Wan, where he's just like a veteran of the Clone Wars.
He was. Wasn't he? He was a beggar, right?
He was a beggar.
Just like
he goes, support the troops.
Old soul veteran.
Yeah, support the troops.
Support the troops.
Support your local veteran. And so it's good. I love him. What?
Obi-Wan was good.
Obi-Wan was okay. I didn't finish it, but yeah, it was good.
What?
Yeah. It's what? I didn't finish it. I was bored.
You want to say that again?
I didn't finish it. I was bored. Obi-Wan fights Darth Vader, and he gets away. And he has a spiritual epiphany.
Nobody was ever saying that we didn't already know that was going to happen. But watching it was an experience.
It's all right.
You grew up on those movies just like I did. It was worth seeing. Shame on you for not watching them.
Look, I didn't finish. Okay, it was all right. It was all right. I didn't finish it. It wasn't that good.
Hey, you know what?
I'm not just trying to prove my point. What?
As someone who started a podcast about watching content, you're right. I shouldn't get on your case for not finishing a fucking Star Wars TV show.
Fine, I'll go back to
six-episode
finish
miniseries.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just saying, Star Wars is never great. It's occasionally, look, The Mandalorian is really good, right? Mandalorian's really good.
You wouldn't call that great?
Almost. Like, it's really good, but it's almost like a refined new flavor of classic Star Wars, right? Like, so much, like, it succeeds everywhere where the sequel trilogy failed. Like, it was fresh, new adventure, a new type of hero's journey for Star Wars, you know? Like, Star Wars, it had these elements, you know, the scoundrel turned good guy and Han Solo, right? And so they decide to take the bounty hunter who's a scoundrel, but who lives by this code of honor that he must adhere to, put him in a position of responsibility, and that leads him on a path of nobility.
Make him a daddy?
Make him a daddy. That puts him on a path towards nobility in a very literal sense, where he has to protect this youngling, and it escalates because of the factions involved. It escalates into him literally becoming a candidate for Mandalore, the ruler of his people. Literally, the responsibility placed on him leads him on a path towards nobility, and like, that is a fantasy tale if I've ever fucking seen one, and it's really good, you know. And I'm excited for the next season, completely, right?
Are you gonna watch all of this one?
Yeah, I'll watch all of that one if it doesn't bore me. And so it's like I don't have high hopes. I don't have high hopes for Ahsoka. I just don't, you know.
Yeah, but that's. Well, I mean, now that Bob Chapek is out of the hot seat, we're hopefully gonna see things turn towards the better. But I guess he wasn't responsible for all of this. He wasn't there for when it all started.
No, he was making more business decisions.
But that's what Disney is going to do. They paid $4 billion for this. They want to keep making money off of it. So they're going to keep exploring, especially with the popular characters. And honestly, I love anything Rosario Dawson. So I'm certainly going to watch it, and I'm probably going to enjoy it.
She's great. But, like, Mando worked out really well because they brought so many directors on board. Right? Like, even Mando doesn't have like a perfect strike record either. Like, there's some filler episodes in there, but even the filler episodes.
Well, I mean, it started with Favreau, right?
It started with Favreau. Yeah,
the directing force for the whole first season. He didn't direct all of it, but he wrote the key points.
He's like this overarching exec. Like, he's an actual executive producer, right? Producer on it, making sure everybody sort of like. Not fall in lines, but he's there to support all of the directors that him and Dave Filoni brought on. So it's him and Dave Filoni being the architects of this series, and then bringing on directors for individual episodes, because they put so much work into each episode that they need a director for each episode to be there on site, while Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau make sure all of it fits together. So really, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are the showrunners, and then the directors are just directing all the stuff. You know, they have to. Oh God, I forget her name. There's one director in particular where like her episodes just are always great, but I'll look it up later. But yeah, it's a complete, like, Mando is really good, but it's a completely different thing from Andor. Andor is also a completely different thing from the rest of Star Wars. I don't know what.
Won't you at least admit it's a good thing they're exploring? They're they're chasing down these different avenues.
Oh yeah,
and they finally struck gold.
Yeah,
I think there's hardly anything to complain about with this show. It's not perfect, but it's pretty. It's got to be some of the best Star Wars that's ever been made.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't mind the filler episodes in Mando, and I don't mind a few stinkers here now and again. Like you're saying, like, they have to explore and figure out what works. You know, that's just
And
a
in
process
doing
of creation.
so,
Yeah.
exactly. In doing so, though, because I mean, we're hopeful, we're optimistic as fans of the series, but because of the success of a few of these key projects,
Yeah.
we can stay hopeful. We can
Yeah.
we can ignore the stinkers. There will be some, there will be more,
Yeah.
but honestly, nobody was expecting this to be this good. Andor
No.
was never supposed to be this good,
Not to
and
anybody else, no. Yeah.
I'm just so excited that it was.
Yeah.
There
It was
we'll for sure get another season of it.
confident. It's easily the best show, the best Star Wars thing. Like some reviewers said, like from a publication said, like best thing Star Wars has made in 40 years.
Yeah.
Like it's Andor is, just to be specific here, talking about Andor again. Mando's really good. Mando's really good. Andor is a completely
Andor somehow
different,
beat it
somehow beat it. It's so much grittier
without the use of Baby Yoda.
without the use of Baby Yoda. Didn't need without the use of K2SO, right? Without the use of his droid sidekick, who I'm like, where's he? When's he coming in? Right? They show one of those droids at some point. I'm like, is that him? Nope, not him. And it's, when is K2SO gonna come into the picture? Will he?
Oh, that's right. He was just a sidekick, just kind of a partner. Part of his
but
group
he
in
was
Rogue One.
cool, you know. Like, but that's what you had in Rogue One. You needed the scoundrel and his sidekick, right? You had Han Solo and Chewbacca. Then you had
Classic
Andor
story.
and K2SO, right? There's always. And then even when like they did Solo, right? And Solo's the lead. They had Solo,
Yeah.
Chewbacca. Then they had
Lando and that one robot.
that he's sleeping with. It's fucking.
Hey, we don't know that.
No, they say that.
No,
Don't you remember that?
They allude to it.
They don't allude to it. The robot says they make it work.
They did not.
The robot says
they said they gave it a try. They tried something, and they make the whole relationship work. We don't know that they're mixing oil with some other things.
They're mixing oils. All right. Anyway,
They're mixing. No, don't say that. You're gonna make that our new catchphrase.
they're mixing oils. Anyway.
Wait, tell me about the overstuffed quesadilla. Speaking of oil.
No. Anyway. Andor's a great show. Watch it, Justin. I've been telling you. I know it's a slow burn, Justin. Just if I were to speak to anybody directly, I think I showed him the first episode.
Oh, that's right. You said you watched it with him.
I showed
Is he
him
holding out? He doesn't want to watch it?
No, I don't think it's on his radar, you know. But
and that's why I think we wanted to talk about it here.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people think the same thing.
Yeah.
Unless you're a diehard Star Wars fan, you're probably not going to bother. If you do bother, because you pay for Disney Plus, you're like, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
You probably don't get past the first couple episodes. But if you do, I can promise you it'll pay off.
I can. So you know, one selling point. You do not need to have seen anything else Star Wars to watch this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't.
It
need
helps.
To watch.
You get some nice little call outs, some shout outs to references, other things pop up, but not that much. But yeah, you
Otherwise,
really don't need
it's
to
a sci-fi
anything.
spy thriller. Otherwise, it's a spy.
You know what?
What?
You know what you should do?
What?
Has your mom seen Andor?
No.
Has she seen the other Star Wars movies?
She's seen the other Star Wars movies.
Oh, damn. Oh, has your grandma?
No, my grandmother hasn't seen any Star Wars. I'm not showing her Star Wars.
You should watch Andor with your grandma see what she thinks.
She's not going to care at all. She's not going to care at all. My grandmother barely watches movies. She's not a movie person. She's like listen to Christian radio person, read the Bible person. That she rarely watch. I've only seen 2 movies with her that weren't Veggie Tales or Bible Man. And
Bible Man, I forgot about that.
We can unpack Bible Man later, folks, if you've never heard of Bible Man. But
no one's heard of Bible Man. It's
people
a
have heard-
miracle that I've heard of Bible Man.
Jesus Christ, Bible Man. Anyway, like I've seen Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Because we had it on VHS, and she loved that movie, and she put it on for us all the time. And The Ballad of Buster Shrugs. I played a little bit of that for her, and she loved Buster Shrugs. So incredibly violent, she did not mind at all. Like, and I mean just that part, that first part with Buster Shrugs, not the rest of it.
So maybe she won't mind Andor.
Andor's not that either. Like, the thing is, like, that's Buster Shrugs was like the classic American, was a spin on the classic American Western, right? Andor's not that. Andor's not a spin on the Western. It's a thrill. It's a political thriller. It's a heist movie. Then
There's some Western elements in it.
There's some Western elements in it, especially at the beginning, right? The coal town, the coal mining town. Well, actually, I don't even know if they're a coal mining town. They don't really tell you what they do. Oh, no, they do tell you what they do. They're a scrapper town. They're a scrapper town.
Yeah, they salvage.
Yeah, it's a salvage town, which is such an interesting thing.
It might as well be a coal mining town.
Might as well be a coal mining town, but it's a scrapper town. It's actually closer to logging because one of the characters talks about, like, oh, you steal that from my lot, as in my bid. And that's, from what I understand, because my mom watches some, like, logging shows. That's how they do it for, like, for logging trees, for cutting down trees. You have to bid on areas. And so, like, the highest bidder gets the area, and then they, take what they can from the government approved land that's ready to be essentially harvested for trees. So it's closer to that. Anyway, that's trivia. Whoa, folks, we're at 1 hour and 2 minutes.
Yeah. Anyway, we somehow talked about Star Wars for an hour.
And we could for another hour, but that's neither here nor there.
And we will as soon as Josh watches Andor with his grandma.
I'm not watching Andor with my grandma.
That's your challenge for the week.
She's going to fall asleep so quickly. I can't get that lady to sit still, okay? She doesn't sit through anything. She gets up. She doesn't watch a movie sitting down. She'll watch it standing at the doorway.
Put her in a VR headset. Give her a Quest and play it on there. She can walk around.
I don't want to give her a heart attack. Anyway, no, she's fine. Right. She doesn't need to watch Andor, right? She doesn't, because that's
she doesn't. But you
do, audience.
Hopefully, we convinced you all out there listening, watching. Please watch. I prefer watching over listening.
Please,
doesn't matter, but watch.
Watch Andor. It's a bit of a slow burn, but you don't need to have watched anything Star Wars to get into it. It's a spy thriller that turns blah blah blah. It's such a good show with such great characters, great casting, great acting. It's so good.
Horrible writing, but the rest is really good.
It does not have horrible writing. It has really good writing. Really good writing.
Is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. Maybe Hulu as well. I think they're exploring. Yeah. It's probably not anymore, but it's on Disney. Mm-hmm. But get it wherever you can.
That's right, folks. Get it.
If you enjoyed this podcast, consider following us. We are mainly on YouTube, Spotify, RSS.
Yeah, RSS. That's a given. Yeah.
Which is a lot of most places you can get a podcast.
Most places, not iTunes. Fuck them.
TikTok.
Anyway.
I didn't hold my promise. I didn't keep my promise, but we will have a Twitter account. Well, we're thinking of some stuff.
We're thinking of some stuff. It's for now. We're just gonna keep churning out episodes week after week, and then this is gonna grow as organically as possible. Just because we have lives. Okay, folks, we have lives. We need what?
Josh does.
You have a fiance and 4 animals? You can't
keep calling that out. You have 6 animals.
I don't. We lost one. How dare you?
Stop it. You have 5 animals.
Technically, we have 4 because the neighbor's cat has not come back yet. We don't know where that one went. Anyway.
This has been Consume Content, where we help you consume content. We hope you'll consume this content. Thanks for listening. Go check out Andor. It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
We'll go back to something I don't know about next week.
Next week on Consume Content.
Okay, bye.